The invitation came 3 weeks before Natalie's 40th birthday. Heavy cardstock, gold embossed lettering, the works. You're cordially invited to celebrate Natalie Chan's 40th birthday at Marcello's Italian Bistro, black tie optional. Please RSVP by October 15th. No mention of who was hosting. No mention of cost. Just the assumption that I'd show up and smile while my older sister received the royal treatment she felt she deserved. IRSVPD, yes, because that's what you do. You show up for family. What I didn't tell anyone was that 3 days after receiving the invitation, I got a call from Marcello asking to confirm the credit card on file for the private dining room reservation. I'm sorry, I said. I think there's been a mistake. I'm just a guest. No, ma'am, the event coordinator replied. The reservation was made by Natalie Chan, but the card on file belongs to Maya Chan. That's you, correct? We require a deposit of $1,500 for parties over 20 people. The remainder will be charged the night of the event. I'd sat there in my home office, phone pressed to my ear, staring at my computer screen showing the architectural renderings for the new pediatric wing at Mercy Hospital. The wing my foundation was funding. The $4.3 million project that would serve underprivileged children for decades. And my sister had used my credit card without asking to book her birthday party. How did you get my card information? I asked carefully. It's the same card used for the reservation 2 years ago. Your mother's 70th birthday? Same venue, same private room. Right, the party where I'd been voluntold I was paying. Where Mom had announced at the end of the night, Maya took care of everything. To applause, while I'd smiled and nodded and pretended the $3,200 bill hadn't stung, not because I couldn't afford it, but because no one had asked. The card is still valid, I said. Charge the deposit. Wonderful. We estimate the final bill will be approximately $2,800 to $3,000, depending on bar service. We'll charge the card on file the evening of October 28th. I hung up and went back to work on the hospital designs. October 28th arrived with cold rain and gray skies. I drove to Marcello's at 6:45 p.m. for the 7 o'clock party, wearing a black cocktail dress and the pearl necklace my grandmother had left me. The one Natalie had wanted but hadn't received because Grandma so had been specific, to Maya, who listens. The restaurant glowed with warm light. Through the windows, I could see the private dining room already filling with guests. My mother held court near the windows. My father stood with his golf buddies. Natalie, radiant in a designer dress, laughed with her husband Marcus and their 2 teenage daughters. I walked in, shaking rain from my coat. Maya! The hostess greeted me warmly. She was new since Mom's party. Welcome, you're here for the Chan celebration. Yes, I'm Natalie's sister. Wonderful. Let me show you to your table. She led me through the main dining room toward the private space. As we approached, I could see the setup. 3 large round tables, each seating 8 to 10 people. White linens, candlelight, floral centerpieces that probably cost $200 each. The hostess walked past all 3 tables. I said, where are we going? Your sister left specific seating instructions. She smiled apologetically and opened a door at the back of the private room. The storage room. Not even a coat closet repurposed with a table. An actual storage room with metal shelving units, cleaning supplies, and the smell of bleach. Someone had shoved a small folding table into the corner and set it with one place setting, 1 chair. 1 plate, 1 wine glass, by the cleaning supplies. There must be a mistake, I said quietly. The hostess checked her tablet. Table assignment for Maya Chun, storage area, table 4. I'm so sorry, it does seem unusual, but those were the instructions from the birthday guest. Behind us, I heard Natalie's laugh ring out. Crystal clear, perfectly delighted. I stood there for 3 seconds, looking at that folding table. At the chair facing a shelf of industrial-sized dish soap bottles. At the single-place setting that made it clear this wasn't an oversight. This was intentional. Can you tell me, I said carefully, how many people are attending tonight? The hostess glanced at her tablet. 26 including you. 26 people. 3 tables of 8 or 9 in the main room. And me, alone, in the storage closet. Thank you, I said. I appreciate you showing me. I walked back through the private dining room. Nobody looked up. Nobody noticed. They were all too busy admiring the decorations, complimenting Natalie's dress, talking about the menu. My mother saw me, made brief eye contact, looked away. She knew. I walked straight through the restaurant, retrieved my coat from the check, and stepped out into the rain. My phone buzzed before I even reached my car. Natalie, where are you? Party's starting? I didn't respond. Just got in my car, started the engine and drove home. 3 more texts came during the drive. Natalie, Maya, seriously, where did you go? Natalie, this is my birthday. The least you could do is show up. Mom, your sister is very upset. Please come back. I silenced my phone and drove. At home, I changed into sweatpants, poured a glass of wine, and opened my laptop. I had work to do anyway. The hospital foundation board had a meeting Monday, and I needed to review the contractor bids for the new wing. My phone rang at 7:47 p.m. Natalie. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again at 8:03 p.m. Mom, voicemail. At 8:34 p.m., a number I didn't recognize. I answered.
Miss Chun?
This is David Carranza, general manager at Marcello's. Hello, I said carefully. I'm calling because we have a situation with the Chun party reservation tonight. We attempted to charge the final bill to the card on file, but the transaction requires cardholder presence for amounts over $2,000. It's our policy for large bills. What's the total? $2,847. The party ordered extensively from the bar, and several guests added premium entrees. I took a sip of wine. I see. The birthday guest indicated you'd left the party. She attempted to provide alternative payment, but ... double quotes. He paused delicately. 3 different cards were declined. Her husband's card was also declined. Your mother offered a card that was accepted, but the available credit was only $400. So they've had their appetizers and drinks, and now they can't pay. That's correct. We're currently in a difficult position. The party is becoming aware of the situation. I could picture it. Natalie's face going from confident to confused to panicked. Mom trying to maintain dignity. Marcus frantically checking his wallet. 26 people realizing their celebration was about to end in humiliation. Miss Chun? Are you still there? I'm here. I'm thinking. I should mention that the cardholder authorization is really just a formality for large amounts. If you're willing to authorize the charge over the phone and confirm your identity, we can process it without you being present. But you called because they told you I'd left. Another delicate pause. The birthday guest mentioned there had been a misunderstanding about seating arrangements. My staff informed me about the storage room situation. Miss Chun, I want to apologize. That should never have happened. That's not how we treat our guests. But it is how my sister chose to treat me. Yes, ma'am. I understand this puts you in a difficult position. I looked at my laptop screen. At the hospital renderings. At the budget spreadsheet showing my foundation's assets. $8.2 million. Built over 10 years of careful investing and strategic philanthropy. Money I'd earned from my career in corporate finance, then grown through smart investments after selling my stake in a fintech startup. Money my family knew nothing about because they'd never ask what I did for a living. They knew I worked in finance and assumed I was a bank teller or maybe a financial advisor making modest commissions. They had no idea I'd been CFO of a startup that sold for $47 million, netting me $6.8 million personally. No idea I'd turned that into a successful investment portfolio. No idea I ran a private foundation that funded pediatric healthcare initiatives. To them I was just Maya. Single, quiet Maya who always paid but never complained. Maya who was worth seating in a storage room. Mr. Carranza, I said slowly, what happens if the bill isn't paid? We'd need to involve law enforcement. At this amount, it's considered theft of services. But I'm hoping we can resolve this without that step. I'm sure you are. Let me ask you something. If I authorize this charge, what message does that send to my family?
He was quiet for a moment.
That's not really my place to say, ma'am. No, but you seem like an observant person. You noticed the storage room situation was wrong. If I'm being honest, it sends the message that they can treat you poorly and you'll still bail them out. That's what I thought too. I took another sip of wine. Here's what I'd like you to do. Tell my sister that the cardholder left the party due to unacceptable treatment and is declining to authorize payment. The bill is her responsibility as the person who made the reservation, Miss Chan. I'm not trying to cause problems for your restaurant. If they genuinely cannot pay, work out a payment plan or whatever you normally do in these situations. But I'm not authorizing that charge. I understand. For what it's worth, I think you're making the right call. Thank you. And Mr. Carranza? I'd appreciate it if you'd remove my card from your system entirely. I won't be used for future reservations without my explicit consent. Already done, ma'am. Again, I apologize for what happened tonight. I hung up and turned back to my laptop. My phone exploded 30 seconds later. Natalie. Call me right now, Natalie. The restaurant says you won't pay? Natalie. Are you serious right now, Mom? Maya, this is ridiculous. It's your sister's birthday. Dad, call your mother. Marcus. Hey, Maya. I think there's been a misunderstanding with the restaurant bill. Can you give them a call? I muted the conversation and kept working. At 9:15 p.m., my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole. Natalie, still in her designer dress, mascara running. Mom behind her, looking furious. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. Have you lost your mind? Natalie's voice was shrill. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I humiliated you. I kept my voice level. You sat me in a storage room. At a party I'm paying for. It was a seating issue. The room was crowded. There were 3 tables with 8 to 10 people each. That's 24 to 30 seats. There were 26 people total, including me. The math doesn't work, Natalie. Mom stepped forward. Maya, this is not the time for your dramatics. Your sister's birthday is ruined because you decided to throw a tantrum. I didn't throw a tantrum. I left a party where I was seated alone in a storage room and declined to pay for the privilege. You are SVPD, Natalie shrieked. You said you'd come. I did come. I saw where you put me. I left. You're being ridiculous. It was just a table. By the cleaning supplies, facing shelves of dish soap, while 25 other people sat in the actual dining room at beautifully decorated tables. The room was full. Then maybe don't invite 26 people to a party with seating for 24. Or radical idea, don't invite me at all if you can't be bothered to give me an actual seat. Mom's face was red. Your sister spent months planning this party. On my credit card. Without asking, that stopped them both. What? Natalie said. The restaurant called me 3 weeks ago to confirm my card on file. You used the same card from Mom's party 2 years ago. The card you didn't have permission to use tonight either. You always pay, Natalie said, but her voice had lost some of its edge. You never minded before. I minded. I just didn't say anything because I was trying to be supportive. But there's a difference between contributing to a family celebration and being used as a credit card while being treated like garbage. I didn't treat you like garbage. You sat me in a storage room, Natalie. Alone. What would you call that? It was just ... You're always so quiet at these things. I thought you wouldn't mind. You thought wrong. Mom grabbed my arm. Maya-chan, you march back to that restaurant right now and pay that bill. Your sister's party is over, I said firmly, pulling my arm free. And I'm not paying for it. You can't do this to family. Family doesn't seat family in storage rooms. It was a mistake. Then fix it yourself. All of you tried to pay with different cards. They all declined. Marcus's card declined. You clearly don't have the money for this party. So why did you throw it? Natalie's eyes filled with fresh tears. Because I'm 40. This was supposed to be special. So you planned an expensive party you couldn't afford, used my credit card without permission, and seated me in a closet. That was your special plan. I didn't know you'd be so sensitive about a table. It wasn't about the table. It was about being treated like I don't matter. Like I'm just a wallet you can access when needed but don't need to respect. That's not... Natalie started. Do you even know what I do for a living? She blinked. You work at a bank or something. Or something, I repeated. Natalie, I'm 37 years old. We've been sisters for 37 years. And you have no idea what I do. You work in finance, Mom said defensively. Doing what? They looked at each other. You've never asked. I said quietly. Not once. Not at any of these family dinners I pay for. Not at holidays, not ever. I work in finance and you've decided that means I am moderately comfortable and should subsidize your lives. You have the money, Natalie said. Don't act like $2,800 is some huge burden for you. It's not about the money. Then what's it about? Respect, basic human respect. If I'm going to pay for your party, the absolute minimum I deserve is a real seat at a real table. But you couldn't even give me that. Mom's face softened slightly. Maya, honey, maybe we did make a mistake with the seating. There's no maybe about it, Mom, and you saw. You looked right at me and looked away. She had the grace to look ashamed. The room was so crowded. I thought you'd understand. Understand what? That I'm less important than the other 25 people there? You're family. You're not a guest who needs special attention. Apparently, I'm not family enough to deserve basic dignity. Natalie wiped her eyes, her mascara now in full raccoon territory. What do you want? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry about the stupid table. Now will you call the restaurant? No! Maya! She actually stamped her foot. A 40-year-old woman in a designer dress, stamping her foot on my doorstep. All those people saw what happened. Do you know how humiliating that was? Do you know how humiliating it was to be shown to a folding table in a storage room? It wasn't the same. You're right, it wasn't, because I walked away with my dignity intact. You stayed and got your credit cards declined in front of 25 witnesses. That's so cruel, Mom breathed. No, cruel was the storage room. This is consequences. We're family, Natalie's voice broke. Family helps each other. Family respects each other. When's the last time you helped me with anything? Silence. That's what I thought. I help you. I pay for parties, I loan money that never gets repaid, I show up and smile and never complain. But it's not reciprocal. It never has been. Because you don't need help, Mom said. You're so independent. So self-sufficient. Everyone needs help sometimes. Support. Recognition. A phone call asking how. I'm doing instead of asking if I can pay for something. Natalie was crying again. What am I supposed to do about the restaurant bill? They're talking about calling the police. Work out a payment plan. That's what Mr. Carranza suggested. Or call other family members. Call Marcus's parents. Call your friends who were at the party. Figure it out like an adult. I can't believe you're doing this, Mom said coldly. Over a table. I'm doing this over years of being treated like my only value is my wallet. Tonight was just the breaking point. So that's it? Natalie said. You're going to let the police get involved? Let us be humiliated even more. The police won't get involved if you work out payment arrangements. Mr. Carranza seemed very reasonable. How much do you even have? Natalie demanded suddenly. Since you're so high and mighty about money, how much are you actually worth? I met her eyes. More than you apparently think. Enough that $2,800 isn't a hardship, but also enough to know that money doesn't entitle people to disrespect me. Just tell me. What do you make? Why? So you can calculate how much you think I owe you. You're my sister. Then treat me like it. I started to close the door. I'm done for tonight. You two should probably head back to the restaurant and sort out that bill. Maya, Mom tried. Good night. I closed the door. Locked it. Listened to them argue on my doorstep for 3 minutes before they finally left. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, Maya, please, Natalie's devastated. Can we talk about this like adults? I typed back. Adults don't seat their family in storage rooms. Adults don't use other people's credit cards without permission. When Natalie's ready to talk to me like an adult with genuine apology and changed behavior, I'll listen. Until then, I need space. I silenced my phone and went back to my hospital renderings. 4 days later, on November 1st, I was in a conference room at Mercy Hospital presenting the pediatric wing design to the board. The vote was unanimous. Approve the $4.3 million project. Construction would begin in January. After the meeting, I checked my phone for the first time all day. 17 missed calls. 32 text messages. All from family members who apparently heard the full story of what I'd done to poor Natalie. I scrolled through them, Uncle Tom calling me selfish. Aunt Linda begging me to reconsider. Cousins. I hadn't heard from in years, suddenly very concerned about family unity. And one text from Natalie. Marcelo's let us set up a payment plan. $300 month for 10 months. Are you happy now? I wasn't happy. I was sad. Sad that it had come to this. Sad that my own sister thought respecting me was optional. But I was also free. Free from being the family ATM. Free from swallowing my hurt to keep the peace. Free from accepting scraps of dignity while funding other people's celebrations. I texted back, I hope you learned something from this experience. I'm not your wallet. I am your sister. When you're ready to treat me like it, call me. Until then, I need space to heal from years of being taken for granted. I didn't expect a response. I didn't get one. 3 months later on Valentine's Day, my doorbell rang. Natalie stood there alone. No makeup, jeans, and a sweater, holding 2 coffee cups. Can I come in? She asked quietly. I stepped aside. We sat in my living room. She handed me one of the coffees. I've been in therapy, she said. Since November, Marcus insisted. He said if I didn't figure out why I treated you that way, he was worried about how I'd treat our daughters as they got older. I sipped the coffee, waited. The storage room wasn't a mistake, she continued. I knew what I was doing. I told myself you wouldn't care because you're always so low-key, but really ... I think I was jealous. Of what? Of how comfortable you are with yourself, how you don't need validation from everyone. How you build this whole life none of us knew about. She looked at me. I Googled you after the party. Found articles about your foundation, about the hospital wing. Maya, you're funding a $4 million pediatric project? 4.3 million. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked. And when I tried to talk about my work, you changed the subject. She nodded slowly. My therapist said I probably minimized your achievements because they made me feel inadequate. I'm 40, working part-time retail, dependent on Marcus's income, and you're changing lives. Saving children. Your life isn't less valuable than mine. I know. But I made you feel like yours was less valuable than everyone else's. I'm sorry. Really, truly sorry. The storage room was cruel. Using your card was theft. All of it was wrong. I studied her face. She looked tired, genuine. I forgive you, I said quietly. But things have to change. I know, they will. I promise. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked, maybe for the first time in years. She asked about my foundation, my work, my life. Actually listened to the answers. When she left, she hugged me tight. Thank you for not giving up on me. You're my sister, I said. But I meant what I said. Things have to change. They will. I promise. And slowly, carefully, over months of therapy and hard conversations, they did. But I never forgot the storage room. Or the moment I chose my dignity over their comfort. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for family is teach them how you deserve to be treated. Even if the lesson costs $2,847 and a ruined birthday party.